Welcome back to another episode of the Female Empowered Podcast. I'm Christa Gurka, and I am so glad you're here. As always, every week, I'm glad you're here. So, if you're a woman running a boutique fitness or wellness business, this podcast, I promise you, is your go to space for real conversations about leadership, strategy, accountability, mindset, and growth. And today, I want to talk about something that I see come up again and again and again, not only in myself, but also in a lot of the women business owners that I work with. And it's about our strengths, the traits, the talents, the way we do work, the way that we lean into projects. A lot of times, what we are super proud of and what made us really successful. The ones that have helped you build your business, serve your clients, push through the hard seasons, and get you to where you are today. But here's a little twist. Sometimes those strengths can turn into our kryptonite, our Achilles heel. And instead of really looking into, well, what are our strengths and weaknesses? Today, I'm going to talk about when our strengths become our weaknesses. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the my high ticket mentorship program, the Inner Circle. We do an Inner Circle retreat every year, and this year we went to a beautiful um space in Bay, in just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. It was absolutely spectacular. And one of the exercises we did was I had a CliftonStrengths implementer coach come in, and all of us, all 10 of us, did the CliftonStrengths assessment, where we identify our top 5 natural talents, things like achiever, responsibility, competition, strategic, activator, empathy. These are all the different, I think there's 16 different strengths that you can come up with. And what we did was we had this implementer talk about how our strengths show up at home, how our strengths show up in us as work, as leaders, as clinicians, as providers, and how sometimes those strengths become our, what they call in Clifton's is balconies, basements. So we have strengths when we're working really, really good for us, we're standing out on our balconies. And when they are not doing so good for us, we're in our basements. And what this coach did was not only talk about how we can see ourselves better, but also how we can understand different strengths in our team and how we can work together as a team with our admins and our clinicians and our instructors, um, to have as much of a holistic and open and trustworthy dialogue with what's working, what's not working. And one of the things I did this with my team, gosh, probably in 2022. And what was really great is it comes with this like chart, this rubric where you can chart out everyone on your team and where they are, and you can see where your strengths lie, and then also where your team strengths lie. So I'll give you a perfect example. I had someone on my team that I was having a really hard time because I felt like they weren't executing on their responsibilities. And when we did this assessment, we realized that this person didn't have any executing strengths. They had all strategic thinking strengths. And the problem was the role that I had put this individual in was for executing. So where their strength was really in strategic thinking and strategic planning and not in executing. I was asking this person to do something that they naturally were having a really difficult time doing. So it's just an interesting way of being able to look at each other's strengths and not look at things as weaknesses, but be able to speak in language in terms of, I need you to dial down that strength a little bit, or I need you to dial it up a little bit. So we're going to talk all about that today. And this was something really exciting that we did in our retreat. And I think the attendees got a lot of personal insight into it and also how they can go back and help their teams and work within their teams this way. So let's talk about all of the different strengths here. Okay. So kind of like I said, every strength has a shadow side. And when we lean too much sometimes into our strength, it can really become a liability, not only to ourselves, but to our team. So let's, for example, say you have one of the strengths is achiever. I have achiever as one of my strengths. A lot of business owners, and I would say 80% of the women that were at these retreat did have achiever as one of their strengths. So, what does an achiever do? We love to get things done. We are very satisfied with a to-do list and checking things off our to-do list. We love being productive. We are dependable. We're hardworking because why? Because we want to get the checklist done. But if we're not careful, we could put ourselves in a position where we never rest. We could put ourselves in a position where we're just trying to be productive because we think we're being busy all the time. We're not really getting anything done. We sometimes could set unreal expectations, not only for ourselves, but for others. Like if we're like, okay, great, here's the plan. Here's where I want it done. I want it done yesterday. And maybe everyone's going to be trying to figure out how to catch up to us because it's been in our head for a couple days, but we just announced it to our team. Okay. Or empathy is another strength. So empathy are very feeling based people. They have a lot of relationship building skills. They're really deeply attuned to other people's feelings. So you create safe spaces for people. Now, if you have a lot of empathy and you're someone that might have to hold people accountable for their showing up on time, their cancellation fees and stuff, it might be difficult and you might avoid these tough conversations because, and you sacrifice your own boundaries and your own, like, what needs to get done to make other people feel uncomfortable. So, sound familiar? Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the 16 different strengths. Okay. So the 16 different strengths are as follows. You have achiever. So, like I said, I'm an achiever. You get things done, but you struggle to rest or delegate. There is activator. Activator is a quick start, but they may rush without planning. So in other words, they're impulsive. They're like, oh, let's do this now. And then they don't think through, or and they want everyone to come along, but other people can't keep up as fast as them. Responsibility. These people are dependable. They feel a sense of responsibility to their job, to their clients, but sometimes they put all of other people's desires and goals ahead of their own, and they can become overwhelmed. Strategic. Someone who's strategic as a strength sees solutions and a pathway to success. The downfall might be they may move too fast or don't explain it properly to other people so they can't see the end or the reason we're going there. Woo, which is actually stands for winning others over, are people that win people over, right? Sometimes, but the downfall could be they avoid hard conversations. Empathy. This is what we just talked about. Empathy. They're deeply in tune with other people's feelings, but they can maybe carry too much emotional weight on their shoulders. Command. They lead boldly. If you have a strength of command, you lead boldly, but sometimes you can come off as maybe as intimidating. As women, we will often get called bitchy or aggressive. Another strength, maximizer. They strive for excellence, maximizers, but they can also become perfectionists. Learners. Learners love learning things. But sometimes if you're a learner, you might stay in the learning phase too much and fail to take action. So I see this with a lot of high achievers and a lot of women business owners where, like, buying the course, doing this mentorship, doing this, but then we don't take any action. So we're just staying in the learning phase. But what's important is that we also take action. Futuristic. These people are visionaries. They're always thinking in the future. So sometimes a downfall could be that you might seem disconnected from right now, like what's going on right now, because you're always thinking 10 steps ahead. Harmony. These people value keeping the peace, being clear and kind, but sometimes while trying to keep the peace, they might avoid necessary conflict or difficult conversations. Self-assurance. These people are confident. Sometimes, though, on the flip side, if you're too confident, you could avoid and resist having feedback from people. That's, we always want to get feedback. Feedback's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because that's how we can improve. Relator. A relator is someone that has deep connections. Okay. Deep connections. So if you're a relator, what sometimes might happen though is you may resist new relationships. Maybe you don't put yourself out there as much because you have deep, deep connections. So you don't love like the surface level talk or the small talk. Um, focus. Focus, you stay on track. You may be inflexible. Okay, so positivity. You're very positive. You lift all people up, but then sometimes you may not look at the real deeper problem, which is okay to have problems sometimes, and every problem has a solution. And then discipline brings structure. People have discipline, bring structure, but they may also struggle with change. So if you're very disciplined, you're very structured, change is a hard thing. Like those people that have a hard time when you change your schedule or change the instructors or change hours. So these just understanding how people react and how people are thinking and if they're leaning too much into their strength or not really is helpful not only for yourself and how you lead, but in understanding the real like group dynamic within your team. So I am going to share my strengths with you. I have, as someone put it, I have very strong strengths. I have meaning strong, meaning I have very, now I'm trying to think of the word that they used. Intense. I have very intense strengths. So my number one strength is focus. Um, my number two strength is analytical. My number three strength is achiever. My number four strength is competition. And my number five strength is significance. Okay. So what does this mean? So basically, the focus strength is I can take the lead. I can take direction, follow through, and make corrections necessary to stay on track. I prioritize and then act. And yeah, that's pretty true for me. Analytical means I search for reasons and causes. So I have the ability to think about all the factors that might affect a solution. This is how I start to prioritize. Like I said, I have achiever in my strengths. I work hard. I possess a great deal of work stamina. You take immense satisfaction in being busy and productive. Yay, Enneagram threes. Okay, competition. You measure your progress against the performance of others. Shout out Enneagram three again. And you strive to win first place. It's true. I'm relatively competitive. Pretty much, I do. And significance. You want to make a big impact. You are an independent and prioritized thinker. You prioritize projects based on how much influence they will have on your organization or the people around you. Okay. So the other thing that CliftonStrengths does, which is what I said, like when you can group yourself in terms of like your team and everything, they break up the different types of strengths that you have into four different categories. Okay. The categories are executing. Okay. Executing themes help you make things happen. So I have two strengths in executing, focus and achiever. Okay. The next group is called influencing. Influencing themes help you take charge, speak up, and make sure others are heard. I also have two influencing strengths, competition and significance. The next one is relationship building. Relationship building themes help you build strong relationships that hold a team together. I do not have any relationship strengths. And so this is something that I learned to hire for because I was lacking in this area a little bit. And then finally, strategic thinking. These themes help you absorb and analyze information that inform better decisions. So my analytical strength is in strategic thinking. Okay. So the way that I look at this is there are ways that you can look at your strengths, right? And you can figure out where you are best suited in being a leader or in being a manager or in being a clinician or in being a business owner, right? So the way that these things can happen is, you know, focus. So let's take focus, for example. People with strong focus talents prioritize and then we take action. Okay. We set goals that serve as our compass. That's why I'm a big goal setter. I like it. I like checking things off the box. And they help determine priorities to make these alterations when needed to stay on course. And I'm really good at helping business owners do that when they are starting to veer off course and how I can bring them kind of back. We're valuable as team members because our single-mindedness and like what we're prioritizing enhances the speed and quality and keeps everyone on track. Now, where can this sometimes go awry is sometimes if I'm too focused, I get very distracted if someone's trying to get me out of focus. So when I'm in like working mode, I don't do well when people are trying to distract me. And so that could be something like as a leader, if you're not if you're easily distracted and you don't like that, you can come across as, being, how would I say, not nice. Then that's one of the things I did was I started to work from home on days that I was really trying to be productive because that way I didn't come across as being mean when people were trying to reach out to me or have me do something in the middle of my focus. Achiever. Another thing is for, the downfall sometimes, like I said, in an achiever is that we're going so fast sometime that we don't take time to listen to other people. All right. So these are some things as an achiever that I have to keep track of and recognize when they're happening and make sure that I'm being sensitive and I'm not overly dialed in to that strength. So these are the kind of things and works and workshops and trainings that we do inside my high ticket inner circle mentorship. Why? Because we don't just talk about hiring and marketing or profit margins. We dig into you specifically. We dig into why you choose certain things, why you lean into certain projects and veer away from other ones, why you're having a hard time having difficult conversations, because you are the engine of your business. And the more you understand yourself, the better you will lead your team, serve your clients, and make strategic decisions with you in mind. Right. I also, again, I think I said this before, I love, love, love the Clifton assessment because when we talk to our team, they could say to me, you know what, Christa, I need you to dial down that achiever strength a little bit. And if I'm having somebody that's really like not carrying through on the cancellation policy and stuff, I'm like, I just need you to dial up this a little bit. Okay. So if you're interested in doing these kinds of trainings and seeing if joining the inner circle is something that you would like to be a part of, we do this inner circle retreat every May. And so we are about to open up enrollment. Requirements to join the inner circle are you have to have surpassed about $300,000 in annual revenue. You have a team and you're trying to systematize and scale your business in a more sustainable manner. So I'll give you specifics. You're generating three, four, five, six, $700,000 in revenue. You're probably paying yourself maybe high five, low six figures, and you have maybe 10% profit. With the systems and processes we teach and learning how to dig into you specifically as a business owner in the inner circle, we could get you to increase your top line revenue by a couple $100,000, increase your bottom line revenue by a couple $100,000, which puts more profit in your pocket and gives you more choices on how and where you want your business to go in the next 12, 18, 24, 36 months. So if you're interested in this, there's two ways you can go about applying. You can add yourself to the wait list at christagurka.com/mentorship, or just shoot me a really quick DM over on Instagram. I'm at Christa Gurka on Instagram. You can shoot me a voice note or a DM, and we can chat a little bit about how, if this program is right for you. We, at the time of this recording, have 2 spots available. I'm starting to go through applications, so I don't know how long those will be available, but we currently only have 2 openings at the time. And so if you're interested, send me a DM or visit the website christagurka.com/mentorship. And until next time, ladies, bye for now.